simple as that. As people come in, they can go ahead and join this discussion. We'll give our folks a little bit of time to come up in here and get this thing rolling. So shout out to my people that's going to be coming in to YouTube tonight. We're talking about the Atlanta Megachurch pastor that says black people need to stop blaming white cops for killing black kids. That was what this dude actually said. He was talking about basically standing up for authority, listening to authority, and this and that, all kind of crazy stuff, whatever. So just madness he was talking about. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna discuss that tonight. Give our folks a little bit of time to come up in here. Let me read some of the headlines that we dropped on X today. Make sure y'all visit newsholder.com to stay up to date on breaking black news. Last post I put in just a few minutes ago said Chicago poetry studio manager defends viral video when the staff member told black women to get her ugly A out. It's not a racist incident. So make sure you check that article out. Also, stunned and speechless, Kamala Harris responds to the 2024 election defeat revealed in her new book. We have reviewing WNBA finances. Robert Little reveals where the league's revenue goes. We had another church post as well today. Divided congregation church goes viral for using Apple Pay to receive tithes from their church goers. Check that one out. Rapper OMB Peasy allegedly targeted Raleigh nightclub shooting incident. We have a waitress dismissed allegations of racial discrimination over questioning black people about tipping at an Indianapolis Thai restaurant before they were served. So they couldn't even sit down and get their food. And this chick already worried about a tip and how much money she's going to get. Pinky Cole faces heat over slutty vegan 2.0 amid Spelman closure. Student complaints about high prices. Checking the disrespect by fans criticize Shador Sanders and Travis Hunter's jersey retirement plans. Like I said, we putting out the content. I can't even spell Nicola, whatever, the guy that used to play at Tennessee on the break of $4 million move to a Power 9-5 conference. Check that out as well, too. You get a chance. Tay K convicted. Jury rules on 2017 shooting case involving Mark Anthony Sadoville. Massive $30 billion medical debt relief. Advocates argue it falls short. These are just articles from the day, so y'all make sure y'all check the page out. Ellen Pompeo demands her share. Grey's Anatomy continues to profit for her profits. Trying to see if our people, what's up? Rel, I see you up in the space. Shout out to you. We just going over some of the headlines today before we actually get into it, giving our people a little chance to go ahead and come in here. Giving our people a little chance. How Trump and Musk are undermining government instead of driving reform. Let's find another. Ex-NBA star Antoine Walker, who lost $110 million, calls out absence of male voices in WNBA coverage. Let me see. Ohio man falsely accused of stealing car. Lawsuit filed after police dog attack. So they lied about the man stealing the car. Dog jumped on him, attacked him. Now they're getting sued. This one today, a lot of people responded to. They were definitely pissed off. They were upset. 2-year-old's cornrows disappeared at New Jersey daycare. Mother demands answers from the school. So the child went to school with some cornrows, came home, and they damn near snatched a little baby ball. 2 years old. Federal court approves landmark case tackling environmental racism in Louisiana. Lil Nas X hospitalized after experiencing facial loss of control. NBA icon Russell Westbrook curates stunning outfit for WNBA's number 6 pick. Georgia Amore, a first in fashion. What else? Come on, scroll down. I know y'all seen the thing about Trump. Trump administration halts $2.2 billion in Harvard grants amid campus activism dispute. Harvard is the richest university, to my knowledge, in the world. One of the biggest endowments that any university has. Predicting the top contenders for the 2025 NBA's draft, number 1 pick. Just trying to Going over a couple of the top topics for the day in case you guys, shout out to you guys coming up in here. I see you guys coming up in here. Just want to go ahead and share some of the headline. What's up, Nightfall? Chilling over there, holding it down for us on YouTube. Yes. I don't know if you guys heard about the mega preacher in Atlanta has a huge church, and he got up in front of the congregation. He felt the need to talk about basically obeying authority. He tried to tie it into some biblical scriptures as well, to render unto Caesar. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna touch up on that real quick as well, too, just giving our people a little bit of time to come up in here while I'm also sharing some of the top highlights. Let me see, what's another one? Of course, Beyonce has a new campaign, and Levi's, California psychiatrist highlights overdiagnosis of defiant disorder in Black youth. So they're basically doping some of these Black kids up. Emerging threats to same-sex marriages, challenges the Obergefell decision. Wallow 267 bold claim, are Black entrepreneurs using race as a sales tactic on $1 million worth of gain? The Joker's up here upset. Rudy Giuliani faces silence from Trump's White House. And DOJ amid ongoing FBI turmoil. All right, let's see DJ requesting. I'm just touching up on some of these articles for the day that we posted. What's going on, DJ? Let me know once you get that, if you can hear me. All right. What's up, DJ? I know it's a double mute sometimes. What's up, Trouble? I see you up in here as well, too. Rella, Thias, what's going on? Stephanie, what's up with you down there? Black American family, what's up? What's up with everybody coming up in the space? What's up with you guys coming up in here? DJ, can you hear me?
Yeah, mic check 1 2 1 2. Shout out to News Turtle. Let's go.
Yes, sir. And I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna touch up on that article right now, so we can go ahead and get into it. Go ahead, and I didn't actually print it up today, so I'm gonna read it right from the actual site. Atlanta Black Star, curation partner of ours. DJ, let me know. Can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah, you good. Go ahead.
Okay. The title is "Two Wrongs Don't Make a Right." Atlanta MAGA preacher pastor under fire after proclaiming that Black folks should stop blaming white cops for the killing of Black kids. The pastor of one of Atlanta's fastest growing churches is under fire for his sermon Sunday, urging his Congress to be submitted to government authority. Philip Anthony Mitchell, who leads the 2819 church, said that includes respecting law enforcement and telling Black parents to stop blaming white cops for killing of Black kids. Instead, teach your children to be obedient to authority. He said, I don't care if most of you are Black. We need to teach our children to not fight against authority, not fight against cops. Mitchell related a story from his youth when he was walking through the Hollis neighborhood in his native Queens. He said he came face to face with an Italian cop who Mitchell said held a Glock to his head and dared his younger self to say something. In that moment, I hear the voice of my mom, my father. He said, son, obey authority. Son, respect. Give me 1 second. Respect your elders. Son, don't be in trouble out there with the police. And I could hear them, blah, blah, blah. In that moment, with the Glock pressed in my head, I thought either my ego is going to be strong or my submission to authority is going to be stronger than my ego, Mitchell continued. If I had not been taught to obey authority, and because I'm not saved, I'm separated from God all eternity by a cop's bullet. Mitchell's comment drew sharp criticism on social media, as people like him who kept us enslaved for so long, wrote one Instagram commenter. Ahmaud Arbery, what did he do wrong? Added another, referring to the Black Georgia man shot and killed in February 2020 by vigilantes as he jogged through a mostly white neighborhood. Another Instagram account holder noted how Mitchell's sermon seemed to mirror what you hear at a Donald Trump rally. He is definitely a MAGA pastor, he said. No question who he is. He is a MAGA cult member. In fact, Mitchell has never aligned himself publicly with President Trump, and it should be noted that his sermons seem to be well received inside his church's walls. Oh, so many people in the comments and their feelings observed a Mitchell supporter on Instagram. He's preaching about Christ and bringing souls to Christ. Oh, I get it. He's too biblical for y'all. Shaking my head. Some who may have disagreed with this message offered him the benefit of the doubt. Two wrongs don't make it right, and two things can be true at the same time, wrote a Mitchell supporter. Yes, we're called to obey authority as stated in the Bible, and we should respect the law. At the same time, police officers should not target innocent black young men or use lethal force for non-compliance when other de-escalation methods are available, depending on the situation. Mitchell does not shy from controversy, particularly when it involves church leadership. He's been a major critic of his fellow pastors who he says are betraying the congregation by focusing on materialistic and self-serving doctrines and choosing personal ambition over humility and service. That message, along with a compelling personal story that includes a stint in prison, has made Mitchell a rock star among Atlanta pastors. This man has folks lining up hours before the church starts just to be in his building, posted one supporter on Instagram. This man is helping to lead an entire generation to Christ. None of that gets posted, but he said something controversial and we posted. In January, at the news that city officials were trying to kick the 2819 church out of his temporary home at West Side Atlanta Charter School, donations poured in from across the country for a new facility. Besides standing room only crowds, the church's YouTube page boasts more than 718,000 subscribers. Mitchell told his congregation that he anticipated his sermon might anger folks. In his call, render unto Caesar the things that are Caesar's, Mitchell admonished everyone from tax chiefs to able-bodied drivers who park in handicapped spaces. Be model citizens. Stop being rebellious towards authority, he summarized. So there we have it. There we have it. Alrighty. I hope this damn thing ain't acting up here again. Okay, now we're having some issues with X on here, guys. So give me 1 second to reconnect. Hey, did you hear any of that, DJ? Because it seemed like it muted.
Nah, it just got muted towards the end right there. I think when you stopped.
Okay, did you hear most of it?
No, I heard everything. It's just like I guess you stopped, and I wasn't sure you got kicked out the room or not.
Yeah, I did temporarily get kicked out right towards the end. That's why I'm like, oh, that's the only problem. That's why I always print stuff out sometimes instead of going to these actual sites and reading it, because it ended up sometimes, I don't know, something with the actual connection or something. I don't know what it is, but either way, this guy is full of you know what right here. He is full of it. Nightfall says, then start paying taxes, sellout. Polo Style said he's an immigrant from Trinidad. They can't speak for us. Nightfall also says, I guess we shouldn't have that conversation about the Israelites and Pharaoh, huh? Also, Nightfall says it's always some old Trump mouth pulpit pimp that's slave garbage. Yeah, he even used the example of when he had a Glock to his head when he talked about he was a kid in Queens and this and that. Well, here's common sense right here. If somebody pulls a gun on you, whether it's an authority figure, it's a cop, or it's just somebody out there on the street that's jacking you, most people with a lick of sense are going to go ahead and they're going to comply, unless you do have a death wish. So if somebody comes out, pulls a gun to your head and tell you to go ahead and say one smart thing, or I'm going to pop you, most people with an IQ over 15 are just going to sit up there and not going to say a word. This whole thing about, and they made a great example of using Ahmaud Arbery. Ahmaud Arbery was just jogging through a neighborhood and got killed. I mean, and I know these people weren't cops, so to speak. They were just people in the neighborhood or whatever, but sitting up here telling black people to stop blaming cops for killing your kids. Well, if your child was innocent and didn't do anything, why wouldn't you blame the cop? I mean, who else would you blame? Is he trying to say that, okay, your child does nothing, he's not breaking the law, he gets targeted, he gets killed by the cops, but is it somehow your child's fault? I mean, your child actually, what are you trying to say, that your child actually got himself killed simply because the child was black? That makes absolutely, that makes absolutely no question. Nightfall said, here's a question. Was he committing a crime or just minding his business when that cop drew down on him? I don't know. They say he did do a stint in prison or whatever. Apparently, and that's the problem too. They talking about that this guy's like this rock star and this and that. Or whatever. Jesus Christ, he's a pastor. He's a preacher. What do you talk? He's a reverend. Like, I mean, he's not Jesus Christ himself. So everybody's sitting out here and waiting hours to get into his church like it's the second coming of Christ makes no sense. He's a man that's supposed to be delivering the word of God and nothing else, nothing more. So all this stuff that people sitting up here and they act like, well, he can't be criticized, and he can't be this, he can't be that. He may do a lot of good in the community. I don't know. I don't know this guy. I did hear months ago about them, and so many articles come through. I did hear months ago about this guy, particularly they were trying to move or whatever. They started raising donations. Okay, they got him another place. That's all good and great, but to sit up here and act like, he's bringing souls to Christ and this and that or whatever, he can bring souls to Christ and he can also be criticized at the same time. I mean, DJ, what's your take on this right here?
I mean, what can he really say? Because that's his own personal life experience. You feel what I'm saying? I've been in situations like that. Someone put a pistol to me. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hold up a minute. Yeah, freeze. You know what I'm saying? Or give up the goods. So it's like, hey, man, what you really going to do in that situation? You going to be a tough ass, think you a superhero, Jean-Claude Van Damme? You know what I'm saying? Or you just going to give it up and go home for the day. You know what I'm saying? Because that materialistic stuff ain't worth your life at the end of the day. So when he's saying, hey, you just need to comply, basically, that's pretty much just let white folks do what they want to do. Let these officers of the law, a.k.a. the Runaway Slave Patrol, do what they want to do to you. That's pretty much what he's saying. And that goes for any authority figure, pretty much is what he's saying. So I'm not sure if y'all seen that one video, and look in the Jumbotron too, Justice for Jordan Hill, this cracker knocker Cody Rollison ran this little black boy over, man, and killed him. You know what I'm saying? So where's the compliant then, Pastor? See that? So two things could be true at the same time, but yeah, what happens when you being smacked in the face, you gonna turn the other cheek and go by the slave Bible narrative, or you gonna rise up and defend yourself like Carmelo Anthony? You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, don't tell folks how they should and shouldn't defend themselves, because look what we're going through now. And I definitely believe this joker Cody Rollison murdered Jordan Hill because of what's going on with Austin Metcalf and Carmelo Anthony. It's right there in the Jumbotron, top left-hand side, y'all. Let me know what y'all think. Come on up here. Don't be quiet. Y'all be quiet down there. This is the type of stuff we all need to be talking about and voicing our opinion on, because when it hit the fan, you're going to want to speak out for you. That's just really what it is, man. But the pastor, yeah, he need to be quiet, stop being a DNC shell, and we ain't listening to y'all Jamal Bryant's type anymore. You feel what I'm saying? It's over, yo. The pastor Joel Osteen's, you ain't let the poor people in the church when it was flooded. It's over. Ban the church, man. You know what I'm saying? If you want to hear, go start your own church. Go build your own 501(c)(3) up, because that's all it is. You know what I'm saying? Do your best Tariq Nasheed impression, you know what I'm saying, on a Sunday. And go get your flock together. There you go. You know what I'm saying?
Here's a crazy thing about it, too. In the original, I sent you an invite because I know you're in Atlanta. Now, had this dude been around in the 60s, and that was the last time to me, really, that the black church was powerful, in terms of able to mobilize. You had black people in the 60s and stuff like that, setting up protests and organizations and everything else like that as well, too. So had they listened to what he was saying, basically to be obedient, because he said about being obedient, render unto Caesar and everything else like that, then by his definition, protesting Jim Crow, protesting the brutality that black people were going through at that time, that's against the law right there. You're actually challenging the law. So basically, he would have been one of those preachers back then telling all the black people, oh, y'all need to stop. You're sitting down. You're making trouble. You're going to get people killed. Just go ahead and don't worry about life here on earth. We are going to inherit the kingdom of heaven and all kind of stuff like that. So basically, this guy would have been one of those type right here that would have been undermining you every step. I'm glad you said Pastor Jamal Bryant, too, because to my knowledge, Jamal Bryant, he was one of the ones organizing also a protest against Target, the last couple of weeks and stuff like that as well, too. He also, I remember Jamal Bryant also took a shot when you had some of the black Republicans and stuff up there that went up there to the White House for that Black History. And you know, he was calling people out, basically almost like coons and stuff like that as well too. So you know, you got two preachers, you know, one saying don't do this, and the other one saying do this. One thinks he's political, another one said, hey, just be obedient or whatever. So that's where we at. Original, you're from Atlanta. Have you ever heard of this pastor right here? Not sure if I know Original's up here, but Original, you in the space? Okay, well,
yeah, I'm here. I was in the kitchen. No, I was trying to do a little bit more research on this guy. This is my first time hearing of this. But it doesn't shock me though, because these preachers here in Atlanta, they're all about themselves. They could give a good gosh, you know what, about the masses of black people. Years ago, there was this one preacher, I think I had mentioned this before, someone asked him about passing the torch. And then he said, if you want this torch, you're going to have to take it out of my hand. I mean, he want to fight with him and younger people that's coming up. But them same preachers, they do that to black Americans, but they'll bend over backwards helping, you know, whites and others out at our expense. And I'm looking at, I don't know, I'm trying to see if this guy may be a tether, you know, because even if
you got people saying he's from Trinidad, so you know,
that's a good possibility, because I mean, at the height of some of their stupidity, I've not seen a black American preacher to go this far, and that could be someone that's trying to. Because you have to understand that, especially here in the South, a lot of these people, they trust and believe in their preachers. In their mind, their preacher can do no wrong, and they will follow whatever he says. See, remember, we just had this one, kind of fat, chunky guy named T told the usher to close the doors, and that he gonna raise his $40,000. You want $40,000, you better go get you another job or something, but use your own money. Nobody's giving you that kind of money, you know. But that's the thing about, that's one of the reasons why I just can't deal with religion myself, because you have all this foolishness that goes on, and they wanted to see, in my opinion, they wanted to see how much they can manipulate the minds of their flock. See, in the book. What was that book? The Miseducation of the Negro. Dr. Carter G. Woodson, he called out the preachers back in the 30s because of what they was doing. They wasn't trying to teach the people to really move them forward. They just wanted to mesmerize them with rhetoric, religious rhetoric, and keep them bringing their money to the church. Even he talked about them back in the 30s. And so this is the same thing elevated today, but I'm gonna try to do some more research on him to see exactly where he is from, because that right there, because if you notice now, a lot of these tethers, they tend to think that all we have to do is comply and do this and that. I mean, it was some time ago I was listening to one of Tyreek's space, and this lady from Gambia called in. She said, well, if you African American would just pull your pants up and do it. And he said, ma'am, we said, where are you from? She said, she's from Gambia. He said, well, I've been to your country, and people were dropping their drawers and crapping on the street. And she admitted that they did it. She admitted that. But yet, see, and remember, when the Hebrew Israelites just went to Kenya, and they told them Jesus was black, and they got stoned, and some of them got slightly injured. But this is on that same premise of trying to convince us to comply with the people that want to murder us. That's basically what this is. To comply and let them do whatever they want to do to you. You don't have any rights, because you're gonna get yours in the end. The Lord's gonna take care of you. Don't worry about it. So, but I'm gonna try to do more research to find out exactly who this guy is. Because just from the optics of it, I think he's a tether, a big time tether, and I land.
Thank you, original. Yeah, and do some. Yeah, find out something. I know y'all got a bunch of mega preachers and stuff in Atlanta. Like Atlanta per capita might have more mega preachers, black mega preachers than any other place in the country. So definitely keep us up on that original. Let me give a shout out real quick to Nightfall too for the contribution on Cash App. Thank you, Nightfall. We have a speaker up here. Separation is key. Separation is key. Go ahead and unmute your mic.
Hello. I want to say thank you to the panel. I want to say thank you to the listeners. Yeah, that pastor is a tether for sure. It's from Queens. Just don't trust it. Big tether vibes. You know, also the big problem is a lot of these people feel comfortable. You know, the coons, the tethers, they feel very comfortable doing what they're doing. Excuse me. Sorry, I just had a salsa water. But a lot of these people feel very comfortable. We can't allow that to happen. This is off-code behavior. By the way, he's a tether, so technically he's not black. Just because he's, you know, of a darker hue. There are a lot of Indians who are dark skin like that as well. Are they black? No, they're not. And it's something that we have to constantly bring out and constantly talk about. We are the only black people. As foundational black Americans, we're the only blacks. Okay, everyone else is just reading the book 48 Laws of Power and trying to tether onto our existence for social capital and actual capital. You know, donate 25 cents to a starving African baby. You know, by the way, Africa is a Latin word, so, you know, these people are wholly conquered. Nothing like us. Same thing with the Caribbean tethers and whatnot. We have to have a hard line, okay? That's one thing. These tethers are too comfortable. As for the mega churches, and I'm an atheist myself. I don't believe in that fairy tale. I had, case in point. I was just in another room. And I was talking to some other foundational Black American brothers and sisters, from my knowledge, and one of them, we were talking about abortion. And one of them was like, "Oh, 20 million black." I think I brought up the 20 million black babies who were aborted. And he was like, maybe they weren't meant to live. Well, like, I'm asking, is this God's, you trying to say this is God's plan? That 20 million black babies would be aborted? I said, look, if that's the God that you believe in, then fuck that God.
Hey, watch your language. I'm dropping the F-bombs in here.
Sorry about that. Sorry for cursing. Yeah, so, basically that was my point, right? If this is the God that you believe in, I want nothing to do with that God. The God that allowed my people to be enslaved, the God that allowed my great ancestors, the women in my family, to be raped. I don't know how you want me to say that. So, that was my point. Maybe we need to get away from the heavy Christian thing. I'm not telling people to do anything. But, notice that has, turn the other cheek, all this mentality is not helping us. I land my plane.
All right. Thank you. I'll say this right here. I grew up in the church, born in the church. My mom used to have us in Sunday school and church and vacation Bible school and everything like that as well, too. And here's the thing. I don't know any black preacher growing up. And at one time, I even had a Caribbean black preacher, Reverend England, and Fort Lauderdale was a Jamaican man. And none of these preachers, whether they were Black Americans, whether they were a Caribbean, ever said anything as timing and as cooning as what this dude said, what he used up in his pulpit to go ahead and talk about basically being a slave and servitude and everything else like that. I've never, ever, ever heard any black preacher and that I've actually personally heard, been in their presence from the time I was a kid to the time I'm now as a man. So, I can't put that on, I'm not going to put that on just that this person was, people want to say he was a foreigner, this and that, whatever, because if he was a homegrown Negro from America right here, he'd be a coon, so I'm just going to put it like that as well, too. And I would hope that anybody, if we had a Black American preacher sitting up here, because we did just have, who was it, Marvin Sapp, that was talking about, and I know he had to come back and say people were saying that he closed the doors to get the $40,000 or whatever offering or whatever, and I think he came back and kind of tried to refute it or whatever. But I think we just have an issue with religion right now in this country or whatever. Like I said, at one time the black church was strong. At one time the black church was it served a real purpose. The black church actually did help us a lot, pushed us forward as a people or whatever. I don't believe that's the case anymore. But I'm not going to sit up here and just say if somebody wants to, if somebody has a faith and they believe in whether it's Christianity, whether it's Islam or whatever, that person to me, they're fine that you have their faith or whatever, as long as you're not using it to go ahead and to undermine black people and the progress that we make. And pretty much like this guy was here saying that, blaming actually victims for being killed just because somebody has a badge on. I mean, if he's been paying any attention to the news, anything like that in the past, let's say just 15 years or so, the amount of crooked cops and the amount of cops that's actually been up and should have been convicted, and the ones that did get convicted for just excessive force and taking somebody's life and everything else like that. Should these people that should Derek Chauvin, should he be obeyed at 100% of the time? Should Derek Chauvin because he has a badge? Like I said, at one time you're talking about authority and this and that or whatever. And we understand that the Bible says render unto Caesar, but those people in slavery, the people that were selling slaves, the government that had slaves and everything else like that, were they right simply because they were Caesar? Hell, was Caesar right in his time for the stuff that he was doing? All of the lives and stuff that he took just basically off of greed and conquest and everything else like that as well too. So, that's my problem. I don't have an issue with anybody that has faith, religion. I don't have a problem with somebody saying they're atheist. If that's how you feel and that's how you believe, fine. But, I don't want to just confuse people that's just religion with just total cowardice. And that's what this dude was giving off right there. Black Pressure, and shout out to my girl Stephanie too for her contribution on Cash App. Pressure, I seen you came up here, and I know you have you got Joel Osteen where you at. I think you got Joel Osteen. I think y'all got a few mega preachers out there in Texas as well too. I know you getting your workout on and stuff like that. So I'm gonna see if I can try to get you up here because it's been a minute since you spoke. Pressure, are you able to speak right now?
Yeah. I skipped the gym today, so I'm old. I can't keep doing that. But what's up, Black Fam? What's up, Nose?
What's up now?
So I just wanted to say that for everybody in the room wondering if he is a tether, he is. I watched a video probably about 2 or 3 hours ago, and he's first generation, but his mother and father are from Trinidad. But he was born in I think he's from New York. But I watched a video where he said he was Trinidadian.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. They've been saying that when I posted this earlier today that it didn't waste no time. Everybody said, "Oh yeah, he's Trinidadian. He's Tether. He's Trinidad." Like they didn't waste no time. And even one of the sisters in the YouTube channel also said that he was Trinidadian as well to his parents and stuff like that as well too. So like I said, I'm not going to just put this man and Pressure. I mean, what do you think about it? Because I know a lot of times people say, well, this person is they're not from the lineage, the culture, whatever. But to you, would it be any better if this person was a homegrown Negro from the United States? If he was from Georgia, if he really was from Georgia, what he said?
No, because let me tell you why, if I may. Now, you've heard me before. It's no secret. I'm not religious. Now, that doesn't mean that I don't believe in God. I do believe in God. I just believe in the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. I don't believe in westernized religion. But it doesn't matter in this situation, and that might rub a few people the wrong way because, just off the top of my head, I could go down the list of FBA pastors that are coons. I can't remember the lady's name. I mean, it was a firestorm on Twitter a few months ago, maybe a year. I don't even think it was a year ago, but the clip is old because I saw the clip years ago. She stood up in front of her church and said she thanked God for slavery. That is blasphemy to me.
I do remember that. I can't remember, but I do remember that though.
Yeah. I can't. Not if you ask me her name, and what state she's in, I apologize. I couldn't tell you. I could look it up. It'd probably be an easy Google search. You know, it was a pastor that thinks to go after slavery. But yeah, I've heard other pastors say blasphemous stuff. I've heard a pastor in Atlanta said, forgive me, I got an early onset dementia. Hold on. Was it Mike Brown? I think it was Mike Brown. The guy, is it the young man that got shot in the gas station or in the convenience store by the white cop? I think it was Mike Brown.
I remember Mike Brown got shot in the gas station, but you say now you heard Mike Brown.
That's who it was. I heard an FBA pastor stand up in front of his church and said, the black kids don't have no respect, and if I was a cop, I would have shot him too. I heard him say that out his own mouth. So no, it's not it's not just like focused on tether pastors. But I will say this, and I don't want to take the conversation in a different direction, but the villain is the religion itself. Because if you look at like westernized religion, you know, I think 85% of Black people in America, they claim some kind of subset of Christianity, you know, Baptist, you know, Presbyterian, blah, 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 whatever sect of Christianity you claim. If you really listen to what white supremacy did to that, like I said, I don't really want to go in a different direction. They took a set, I want to say this right, I want to tread lightly. They took a set of instructions, I guess a lifestyle, and they turned it into a religion. But if you really peel the layers back on westernized religion, it teaches Black people to be soft. And it teaches Black people like that turn the other cheek. It literally teaches you to have more mercy on people that victimize you than your own people. But like, cause I don't want to take this in a different direction, but yeah, it's the religion is the villain, and I'll mute up and listen.
All right, Pressure. That was interesting spin on it. K. Williams says religion has been nothing to our people but poison. That's an interesting take on it as well too. Like I said, I feel at one time, you know, it did mobilize Black people during the civil rights era. You know, I think that in terms of the actual being able to get together and to come up with some concrete stuff, I think it served a real vital purpose back in the 60s, late 50s and the 60s and even the 70s and stuff. You know, it was really strong. It did help out and stuff like that. Has it lost its luster to me? I think it has, especially as the money has just exploded and stuff. But let me go ahead and let Rella get it in. Rella, you got it.
Hey, Miss Soda. Hey, DJ.
What's up now?
And shout out to the room. So I really I was really trying to really not. I was trying to hold my composure as far as like if I really wanted to come up in here and have this battle, but I see that you know, no matter where you go, you gonna always have to be a rider and stand in the gap. Christianity is not a westernized religion. It actually came from what was it, the Romans, or if I'm understanding it, who adopted it when they went in and invaded, and they invaded other cultures in Africa, and they adopted and repackaged spirituality or faith, and called it Christianity. Christopher, can't remember his full name. Anyway, so then we have what's called the Bible. Bible comes out of King James, different versions of it. There's a Sephora Bible. First, let me start with the topic. The ATL Megachurch pastor says stop blaming white cops for killing Black kids. Notice he didn't say stop blaming cops from murdering children, right? there is a disparity in policing in Black American neighborhoods, and that is a fact. Just because somebody is a pastor does not mean that they were chosen to be in charge of a church, or they were appointed. Some people appoint themselves. And then we have what we're having now is so many different people who are turned away from the church. They're turned away from listening to, even trying to develop themselves spiritually. To Black Pressure's point, you have a lot of people that do speak blasphemy. But spirituality, and I think different types of religion in regards to, like, if you're Pentecostal, Baptist, the different ways that people in our community have utilized the redemption of recognizing who the Most High God is through spirituality is real. I really don't like the fact that it's being demonized because of a pastor. And I'm not saying you guys are doing it, but that's what it looks like. You have so many churches that have so many issues, and the issues become bigger than who God is and understanding what God is in your life, that people turn away from the church. And then we get people like this guy who says stuff that doesn't make any sense. Any rational person, whether you are atheist or you are someone who is saved, would recognize that what he said does not make sense. There is this thing called discernment. Whether you are a new Christian, or you're not a Christian, you're a Muslim, or what have you, each of these Bibles, the Torah, and all these other constructed religions, their belief system teaches them to do certain things. I think there was a space that I was in, and one guy came in talking about the Torah teaches them that, the genocide that's going on is in Gaza is supposed to be happening because them people aren't supposed to exist. Muslims have a particular belief as well, but they also still have forms of racism and genocide that they practice towards Black Americans. But it depends on who you're talking about. So there's so many fractures in all these religions that, again, we have to somehow throw all rationale out the window, and we get this guy, someone like this guy, or the woman that Black Pressure brought up. Or was it you, Toto, that brought up the woman that made the comment about, thank God for slavery? Nat Turner was not preaching thank God for slavery. Nat Turner was using the Bible, and he was teaching from the perspective of preservation and faith. But we won't ever actually deep dive into that too much because we only land on the fact that he was a part of uprising against slavery and freeing yourself, because the Bible was misused by Europeans to convince themselves that slavery was what God was talking about in the Bible, and it wasn't. So there's a lot to unpack. And we also need to look at culturally where these people come from, which is not the West. They come from nations that they have destroyed, never to rebuild. Even when the generations pass on, they completely commit the same genocide against the people that they are either colonizing, inhabiting, or theft of land, and they use their interpretation and cult indoctrination to rob people of resources, to harm people of resources. That's not the God I serve. So I think it depends on not just what the Bible says, but studying the word. And, that's why we have revivals. That's why we have, people who actually go and take theology outside of just going to church or getting up and watching a Sunday video on a Sunday. You have to study and understand the historical reference of how religion was weaponized to do the things that people are doing right now, and it is to cipher off money, greed, self-indulgence, and to harm people. But you have to tap into your third eye to recognize the truth. So I will never indict God for the things that man has done, because this guy right here is he's harmful, and people need to call him out. I'll land there.
All right. Thank you, Rella. Thank you. Pressure, I got you. Let me read a couple comments. Stay right there. And I got it. Nightfall on YouTube says the modern day black church has turned its back on the community because it no longer serves the people, but its own coffers. Polo Style says that Trinidad pastor's rhetoric is dangerous to our black community. Tasha says the pastor said himself that his parents are from Trinidad. He is a Trini tether. Kay Williams says none of the other races practice what's going on in those Bibles or Quran. They practice anti-black. So shout out to everybody that's dropping some knowledge here. Shout out to Miss Rella. Shout out to Pressure as well too. Let's get some other people to come up here as well too, because I want to hear what you guys got to say about this as well too. Like I say, personally, I think the black church did serve a purpose at one time in terms of unifying and mobilizing an entire, being the backbone behind an entire movement. But obviously in 2025, the black church in 2025 is not the same as the black church in say 1965. But also at times you have had even with Planned Parenthood and stuff like that, they have used black preachers to preach stuff and to pass doctrines and to champion agendas such as abortions and stuff like that really wasn't beneficial to the black race, in my opinion, as well too. But that's another story. That's another topic for another time. But Pressure, go ahead. You got it.
So check this out, Noob. Like I already said, we all family here. Been in the same spaces with each other for years. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm going to take my lightsaber, but I'm going to throw it to the side. I'm not even going to pop it, but I will say this. If you literally have a rudimentary understanding of religion, right, it is easy to recognize that any religion that black people subscribe to on this side of the world, it is absolutely westernized, and you literally only have to go as far as the black community to observe it. So check this out. If you were to somehow get in the time machine, and you would go back to our ancient ancestors in the continent of Africa, and you, like I said, literally, you go over there and you say, "Hey, ask them how you celebrate Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter." They'll tell you, "What's that?" That is absolutely ideologies and religion that was given to you by Constantine and the Roman Empire when he accepted. I think Constantine was the first Caesar to accept Christianity as his faith, but he did it with a twist. He was a politician also, so he had to all those religions that people that call themselves Christians follow today. He had to, I guess you could say, he had to find a way to incorporate all those different religions. So you get Christmas from the Babylonians. You get Easter, I want to say, from the Babylonians too. And Thanksgiving is from somebody else. I can't remember. One of the African tribes they had some type of celebration. And that's where we get Thanksgiving from. But like I said, we didn't follow those customs until the transatlantic slave trade crossed the water. Like I said, you go back to our ancient ancestors, they would ask you, "What are you talking about?" They never celebrated that. That is a westernized part of religion. Something else I want to touch on too.
Pressure, I want to ask you, but go ahead. I don't want you to lose your train. But
go ahead. Go ahead. I remember what I want to say. Go ahead.
But I'm going to say, do you think at one time during the civil rights movement, during the pursuit of rights and everything in this country, do you think at one time the Black church they made a difference?
Absolutely. I still believe that religion has its place in our culture. Because I can tell you, even though I'm always going to rail against westernized religion, I know people that it has genuinely changed. So, like I said, it has its place in our culture today. I just think it's not a positive. When I judge it overall, it's not a positive. But yeah, I do agree with you right there. It at one time it wielded a lot of power at one time. In the positive, let me say that. It wielded a lot of power in the positive, not in the negative. But let me say two more things, and I'm going to give it up to whoever wants to speak. So, of course, all my family, they practice a westernized form of religion. So I think all of my family is Baptist. That's how we grew up. And I always say, when you sit down with a person who calls themselves a Christian and you use critical thinking to debate them, nothing ever that corrupted religion cannot stand up to critical thinking. Because I've had these debates and conversations for 20 years. We get told in the Black church, God is love, and Jesus came, he hung on the cross to save all men and wash all the sins away. And I tell you what, I told this to my mother, love her to death, my father, sisters and brothers. I said, so you take the character who Christians call Jesus, and he hung on the cross, and all men could have salvation, and he saved us from sin. I said, excuse me, 1,500 years after this miraculous event happened, I said, tell me what, there was a major event that literally rewrote history in the world 1,500 years after Jesus came to save everybody from their sins. I said, explain the transatlantic slave trade to me. Now, I told him, remember, God is love. I want you to remember that. Then explain the Crusades to me. Explain the Spanish Inquisitions to me. Explain the 100 years of Negro lynching. Remember, God is love. Remember, Jesus came and he hugs sheep and he passes out cupcakes to everybody and he comforts the brokenhearted. He does all that. I said, explain to me those events. If Jesus is love and God doesn't want this, and God would never let this happen to people. And I've heard someone say it in here tonight. They don't blame God for what men do. So what's the purpose of a God? If he doesn't get involved in human affairs, what's his purpose? He might as well not exist. And I say that, and I'm not saying that to be menacing. I do say it out of frustration and being Black and American, knowing my history. People really make that nonsensical statement of, I don't blame God for what men do to each other. Well, what do you pray for him for? What do you pray to him for? When you pray for safety and healing and all that, you know what God ought to say? I don't get involved in men's affairs. Why are you praying to me? And I'm gonna say one more thing, and I'm gonna let someone else talk. News, you brought this up when you were talking earlier. A lot of black people don't want to confront this. You could strip the religion away, strip religion away, and look at the Bible just as a historical source of, historical reference. When the character that Christians call Jesus, when he was put to death, and this is a topic that black people do not like to confront. It wasn't the white people that killed him. It wasn't the Romans. If you believe that the Bible is true and you read the Bible, what's his name? I can't remember his name. The guy that went to go, I think it was Pilate.
Pontius Pilate?
Yeah. When he went to talk to the crowd, all those Jews, all those black people, after he talked to Jesus, he literally, I'll paraphrase, he literally said, hey, the dude ain't nothing wrong. He might be a little crazy because he did say, that he was the son of God or whatever. He said, yeah, it might be a little bit off his rocker, but he hadn't done nothing wrong. The crowd said, kill him. And that's when Pontius Pilate said, okay, I'll wash my hands of it. The blood is on you. It was black people that had him killed. It wasn't white people, and I'll mute up and listen.
All right. Now, I know that's going to get a response out of some people. Now, I will say this right here. Even though it was a crowd that was rooting for him to be stoned, to be hung, and be crucified and everything else like that, let's not forget that the actual, even though he saw that the man didn't do anything, he didn't think that he deserved it. Pontius Pilate and them still did sign off on it. He still did sign off on the actual crucifixion of Jesus.
He gave it to the crowd, though. He said, all right. He said, I'll wash my hands. His blood is on you. He pretty much said, this is what you wanted. I'm going to give it to you.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm not disputing what you said. Based off of the actual Bible and stuff like that is true. I mean, but like I said, at the same time, let's be for real. The Hebrews and during that time were being persecuted by the Romans. So, Pontius Pilate could have just told them to F off. It's nothing they could have done. And, he could have spared them, but he didn't. So, I mean, I always hear that. It was that, and that's sometimes when people start talking about anti-Semitism, when people start talking about, people that, because they say, well, Jews killed Jesus and this and that, whatever. To me, it still was a double party. Like I say, unless they would have did like they did black people over here, went into jail and got him and just had their way with him and strung him up, then I would have put completely at 100% on them. So even though, Pontius Pilate didn't have to listen, he could have told them to F off, and we're not going to do anything, and there's nothing y'all can do about it. Go home, be mad, and sleep it off. But he didn't do that. He said, you know what, hey, if this is what they want, I'll go ahead and I'll give it to them. I don't care. And they went ahead and they did it. So, let me see what real quick. And I got my girl Trouble up. I'm glad she's up here. Nightfall said, yeah, he washed his hands and said that it was up to the people. Pilate said Jesus hadn't broken the Roman laws. It was the leaders of the church that wanted him off. That is true. That is true. But he still went ahead and he co-signed it. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, news too, real quick. You just give me like 15 seconds.
You got it.
Just to put icing on the cake. Pontius Pilate didn't give a damn what Jesus said he was, because they were like, I forgot what their faith was. Where they worshiped like 1,000 gods.
They were pagans. They were pagans.
Yeah. He didn't care anything about Jesus. Could have said he was Santa Claus. He didn't give a damn because that wasn't his faith anyway.
All righty. We got my girl Trouble up here. Rella's back up here as well too. So y'all definitely come on up here. Trouble, how you doing tonight, sweetie?
Hey, News Total. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing pretty good.
That's what's up. What's up? Shout out to everybody in the room. I don't have a whole lot to say about this because I think points have already been made. And I don't have a whole lot to say about it because I think at this point in time, we should be able to differentiate between pastors and pastors. And what we have here is a pastor. We have, and I agree with the statement that you said that the black church of yesterday is not the black church of today. We have a lot of grifters inside the church house. We have a lot of pimps that have made their way there, and and they have specific agendas. They've been lining their pockets, and then feeding us false information. And they ask the question a lot of times, well, why is the youth as into church today as they was before? And that's because we know that you've been lying to us, and you got to tell the people the truth. What this pastor is doing is taking us back. He's not moving us forward, but he's taking us back. His congregation, he's taking them back. Because obeying authority is one thing. Having your rights violated is another thing. You should not lay down, keep your head down as your rights is being violated. I don't care who the so-called authority figure is. That's slave talk. That's that one slave master always had, that he wanted to read certain parts of the Bible. Be subservient to your master. Love your master. Your master can whoop you and beat you down. You must have did something wrong to master. That's the vibe that he's given. Unfortunately, there are certain people who attend these churches who, to a degree, I feel like want to be indoctrinated. They want to have somebody, with their knee on their neck to a certain degree, because if you know certain things is wrong and you know that your pastor is saying something that's not right, then you should show him by finding you another church. It's not like there are other churches to go to. My mother-in-law attends this holiness church, and she always has. And one thing I never liked about the church, and she even started complaining about it after a while, was that, and he won't let you call him pastor, you must refer to him as bishop. And they do Pastor Appreciation Day. She's on a fixed income. She gets her Social Security. Pastor Appreciation shows up every year, and the pastor and the mother, who they call the mother of the church, his wife, shows up knowing that her income is limited and dictates to her what her gift is to the pastor. Well, for Pastor Appreciation Day, Sister so-and-so, we need you to give $550. And she breaks the bank, giving them that $550, even though she knows she doesn't have it, even though she knows she has to go to her kids and get monies to give to pastor or to make up for what it was she gave so she could pay her bills. Now, once she started complaining in my mind, that says, what he's doing is wrong. Because if you're going to give your pastor a gift, you give it from your heart. You give what you can, not what you've been dictated to. But you continue to go. So at some point in time, you have to blame the people and not the pimp that's sitting in the pulpit. And so, excuse me.
Take your time, Trouble. Get you a little something to drink or whatever.
Sorry. So at this point in time, I think we the majority of us know what it is that we're dealing with. I'm like Black Pressure. I believe in God, but I'm not a religious person. There was a time when I remember, after not being into the Bible, not thinking about church or anything like that, I learned about this preacher named T.D. Jakes. And he had a show on TV, Daystar. And I would be up early in the morning getting the kids ready for school. And so I would turn the TV on and he would be on. And for the first time, I came out of the church when I was 12 years old. For the first time, I felt like, wow, this is the real deal. Because every time he had a word, every time I tuned into the show, it seemed like he was talking directly to me, because I was going through so much at that time. And it was like every single time I turned on, the things that he was saying, it was like, wow, is he inside of my house? Do he know what's going on in my home? Do he know what's going on in my life? But then over time, as he became more popular, his words had less effect. I didn't feel that godliness from him that I once did. And so once again, I found myself pulling away from that. And I just feel like that goes back to what I just said. Once you start realizing that the person that's giving you the word doesn't feel godly, you don't feel that spirit, you must take yourself out of that situation, because there are other preachers and pastors who have that anointing over them, and the spirit don't lie. You can tell. Sorry, y'all. I'm still going through some lung issues. So, but yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and land right there. But I just feel like we need to smarten up as a people. We need to always call these people out when they preach to our people, our youth, our children who are listening and trying to follow the word of what they think is the word of God, when really it's the word of a man who has his own agenda. Because there is no way in the 20th century, in the year 2025 of our Lord, should we have a pastor preaching to our people about being subservient to an authoritative figure that's willing to put his knee on your neck for 9 minutes and smirk in the camera as he's doing it. And this is what we're dealing with when it comes to police. He needs to be called out for that. And I'll land right there. Thank you, Toter.
Thank you, Trouble. And the thing that was so upsetting, like, he didn't even say that, stop blaming white cops for killing black men. He said black kids. It's bad enough if you kill a man, but you're sitting up here and you got the nerve to sit up here and tell parents that they shouldn't be upset if a cop kills a kid? What kind of not? And the fact that he said this in the church, and so many of his people that quote unquote was on Instagram actually taking up for him and defending what he said and this and that or whatever. Like, come on, man. You can go to the man's church and you can support him and this and that or whatever, but you can also disagree. He is a man. He's not Christ himself. And that's the thing that I'm talking about, that you got so many people, sitting out this man like they're going to a concert, talking about they waiting for hours to get into his church and this and that or whatever. I mean, you would think that Jesus had risen again, the way they cutting the fool. So that's the issue that I'm having right here. And that, I mean, he is a man, and sometimes our people, and it doesn't matter what side of the world they on, sometimes whatever religion, and it's been that since antiquity, whether it's Islam, whether it's Judaism, whether it's Christianity, whether it's whatever, sometimes our people do get engulfed in it and then kind of forget that, hey, it's nothing wrong with believing and having faith, but also, you also have to be able to reason as well too. And what this guy is saying, you see the epidemic of black kids and black men and black people, black women in general being gunned down. And you want to sit up here and try to make light of it and talk about, render unto Caesar and this and that or whatever. Yeah, you render unto Caesar. Nobody, most parents don't tell their kids to go out there and break the law. Most kids, go out there and just break the law and do whatever, because it's going to be consequences. A, you're going to either go put in jail, or B, you're going to get gunned down or something. So you don't just tell your kids to go out there and break the law. I was taught as a kid to be respectful to the grown-ups, period. My dad, he instilled that. He said, hey, if you go out at that school and I hear that you're talking back to a grown-up, I'm going to beat you behind. And that's how it was. I don't care if that person is a janitor up there. You're not going to sit up there and you're not going to talk back and you're not going to be disrespectful. If I hear about it, I'm going to beat you behind. And it's simple as that. So the people sitting up here and acting like, well, we got to teach our kids this and that. Listen, man, people are teaching their kids that for the most part. But we also got to look at it that sometimes, kids don't listen. We understand, and they're going to do what they want to do, just like any person else right here. But don't sit up here and start talking about Caesar and this and that or whatever. And then you want to use yourself as an example, talk about that you was walking and this Italian, as a kid, this Italian cop pulled a Glock out on you and had you got slick, told you, yeah, man, come on. You sound like the little scene from Boys in the Hood. Like we know exactly, anybody with a lick of sense knows that somebody's got the barrel of a gun pointing at your face, not to say anything stupid, unless you have a death wish. You got some dummies out there that will pop off and say something smart, but most people, like I say, with the IQ over 20, are not going to sit up here and say nothing. Most people say, "Hey, you got it," and most people don't even open their mouth. They're just going to sit there. Rella, go ahead. You got it. And I see I got my girl Stephanie up here too. So Stephanie, I'm gonna get you after Rella too.
Oh, okay. Because I didn't know if you want Stephanie to go since I spoke already.
Matter of fact, if Stephanie be at work, let me get her real quick, Rella, and then I'll come right back to you. Stephanie, you there?
Yes. Hi. Salute to the chat, guys. I just want to say thank you for holding the space because ever since I heard his talking points, this is another reason why people of other cultures should not be speaking on Black Americans. They should not be the representatives of Black Americans. We say this time and time again. If you don't know what you're talking about, kindly back out of our business. Okay? They are in our churches, but they're in our politics. They're everywhere. Okay? Philando Castile obeyed the law. And what happened to him? Tamir Rice obeyed the law. What happened to him? And countless others that obeyed the law and were still gunned down by the police. Okay? Obviously, this man didn't do his due research to find out all of these sad and unfortunate situations. This is another way of people aching to chastise the Black American community. Okay? And this is basically what I kind of figure out, what I'm hearing from this guy. And I'm tired of these people from these other backgrounds and these other cultures. Just because you have melanated skin, it doesn't mean that you know what our experiences are like. You read up on our experiences, some of you. Some of you care to not know what our experiences is all about, but you still put yourself in our business. And I don't know, what is it going to take for us to just really stifle this whole entire situation before you start to see it dying down? Because it seems like these people are just doubling down on the horrible things that they get to say, and it goes unchecked. I'm getting tired of it, actually. Thank you for letting me speak. That's basically all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, appreciate that, Stephanie. That was short and sweet. Let me go ahead and get to Rella. Rella, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Thanks, Ms. Chatter. And shout out to Miss Stephanie. I hope you're having a good night at work. If you're working tonight. And Treble, definitely shout out to the Trip Original. And like I said, all the family in the room. Again, that little thing that people feel, the tingling that they get on their neck, when their spirit is intact or their spirit is in full charge, it is protecting them. It is reaching out, to the Most High. That is a real thing. And discernment is real. And I do believe our ancestors had discernment. The notion yet again is that, well, why would God do X, Y, and Z? I don't think that, maybe that could be another conversation, but I would say that other groups of people, as I mentioned earlier, who come from a far away place, weaponize religion. They don't have a relationship with the Most High God. They weaponize their religion, their beliefs and practices against people. I think it's a war tactic. It is how they have been able to move in and out of communities and destroy them from within, or to destroy them, period. I think people just are in the position to think that religion in itself is a westernized thing, as if we have other religions that we can point to that Black Americans have been studying, and there is no other religion. The way that Black Americans study Christianity is not the same as when Caesar, Pontius Pilate, and those people were alive. this guy in this church here, coming from another far away land, they have different cultures. They practice different things, believe different things, and they will use the words of the Bible, because he's using the Bible. He's not using the Torah. He's not using no other book to weaponize his belief against the people who have faith and they're entrusting him to be a guide. That is a form of genocide. It is a way to connect with people on a spiritual level and get them to fall into cult-like behaviors. The Bible says it. Jesus talks about he's not concerned with your rituals. So again, the indictment is not on God. The indictment is on the fact that folks got free will, and they're willing to weaponize their free will to harm others using religion. You can pick a religion and study it and pay attention and just follow the timeline of what is happening even in today's time. The people who are in control, the people who are in parts of government who are now weaponizing God, saying, God is telling them to do the things that they're doing. Really? God is telling you to harm people? Where does it say that at? Nowhere. And I think we have to be willing to admit that and stop trying to find ways to I think, run from studying the word for yourself, or studying amongst your peers and things like that, because you don't want to believe in whatever faith-based practice that you don't like. I mean, I think at this point, picking people out of the world to use them as a means to demonize, I think having a relationship with God, even if it's within Christianity, in the way that Black Americans practice, is diabolical. Because no other group is having these many issues, and they are the people who do the worst things with religion. Organized religion. Black Americans in organized religion in our country has never fully seen what it really, really means to do what it is we're supposed to be doing. This guy proves that. Others prove it. Bishop Eddie Long was in the church doing all kinds of sexual, deviant, crazy stuff, weaponizing the Bible. Weaponizing the Bible. And so I just think that, again, putting people on pedestals and then also trying to, like I said, run from spirituality when it comes to studying the Word of God. If you are a Christian, I think it's madness to me. That's just my opinion, and I just leave it there. I think we have to pay attention to everything that makes up a person's ideology, not just what religion you're deciding to use, because people are coming from all parts of the world, and they're enforcing not just their beliefs in religion, but their culture. And it's diabolical. A lot of it is genocidal. So, and that's what I got. That's how I feel in regards to the topic. So.
All right. Thank you, Miss Rella. Let me give a shout out to Moku and Trouble for their contributions on Cash App. Let me go ahead and get to Black Pressure. Professor, I got you too after Pressure, so don't go nowhere.
Hey, no.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead and get
Professor.
Go ahead and get Professor. Yeah, because I gotta jump in after him.
Go ahead, Professor. You got it. What's up tonight?
Yeah, what's up there, Brother Toda and DJ, definitely to Sister Rilla and my brother Black Pressure and Stephanie, Sister Trouble, always causing trouble. Much love to all of y'all tonight, all y'all in the space original, Professor, original, the teacher of the group. He's up in here. So I just want to say, y'all, after looking at this whole thing with this preacher, right, pastor or whatever he wants to call himself, we see more and more of these people who are just doing things to benefit themselves. Anytime you hear a pastor talking like this, then you know you need to turn around and go out the door from that church. But this is a prime example of why we have to be careful with religion, because this stuff has been used to put us in slavery. Remember, that's what they use. They use the Bible as a way to say, hey, this is where y'all belong. Y'all belong down here, and we belong up here. And you're supposed to worship us. We your master. We like your God here. And see, this is why black people, we should be that one group that should really be careful when it comes to people that come with these religion talks, right? We should be very careful with who we listen to, because you could end up in a situation like what we saw years ago, back in, I think it was what, 70s, with Jim Jones, when he took those people off over there in that island, and then next thing you know, all the people ended up dead over there. This is what I'm talking about. Our people should be the one group that should stay away from this stuff right here. Now, I'm not saying turn away from God. You're not hearing me say that. You can always believe in God. You just gotta be careful who you listen to that's bringing you the message. And that's what I'm speaking of. Because even in the Bible, it tells you that there will be false prophets. And we got a lot of them running around here, including the tethers that would like to see us stay at the bottom. And they will bring you a message to keep you at the bottom and keep your mind trained to stay at the bottom and not do anything about your situation. They want you not to fight back. Now, what pastor, especially a Black American pastor, is going to tell Black American people to not stand up, fight back, or do some type of what they call good trouble, right? I want you all, for your assignment at some point, not tonight per se, but anytime, watch the movie about Reverend Vernon Johns. And you will see a pastor that was in the pulpit. He believed in God, but he also tried to tell his people, we need to fight back against these people that's trying to hold us back and keep us down. Now, if you don't have a pastor telling you to fight back against the system, you better turn back away from that church quick. Because like Pastor Vernon John said, you have to stand up for yourself. And not to mention, Vernon John also preached economics within the community. He said that our people needed to become sellers and market our goods to each other, and also do more to benefit one another instead of trying to go outside of the community to show all that we have status. Now, I'm telling you, love this movie, because I'm telling you, it was so good when I watched it. But that's what he was big on. He was like, our people want to go all out and spend money with other people and show off our nice little cars that we've been able to go get, our nice houses that we've been able to go get. But we are sitting back letting people also control us and talk down to us and tell us that we don't belong here and treat us like second-class citizens. He said, you got to die for what you want to get done. And that is true. If you want to be first-class citizens in America, which is where we're supposed to be at, then we will have to shed blood here, right? We've seen our leaders go down for it. Malcolm X, Dr. King, Medgar Evers. We can name them all. So what I'm saying to you all, this guy here, this is somebody that you definitely do not need to listen to, and anybody else that's like him. So I'm gonna land right there, family, and good to see y'all up in the space.
All right. Thank you, Professor. Before I get to you, Black Pressure, we got a new hand up. So let me get to that person because they haven't had a chance to speak, and I'm gonna come back to you. Is it Shay?
Yes.
Okay, how you doing?
How you doing? Yeah, so everything he's saying is correct. And when One Love was talking, she triggered my memory as to something my father has said years ago. Now, how's this go? This is going back maybe about 15 years ago. I'll never forget, he said he was in a church in the Bronx, and they was telling other members not to mess with the Americans, the Black Americans and the Yankees. And he said he did report it to the federal government. He said there was a lot of things they were saying in this church.
They said that in a church?
In the church, yes, in the Bronx. So when I was listening to One Love, One Love, it made me think back to what he was telling me. And this is also true, and it's very believable because the sector and the nationalities and the ethnicities in the Bronx has changed within the last 25 years, I would say. And that is true. So, yep. So when you talk about the church, and like One Love says, I've been in a lot of church. I was, heavy in the Christian community, whether it's Pentecostal. Well, my grandmother was Pentecostal, mother was Baptist, great grandmother was Baptist, so American now. But then you start seeing all these little churches like every 2 blocks in Brooklyn, in the Bronx, and you be like, that's one thing they will always say, Tag, why is there so many churches in one community with different denominations, right? So like you said, One Love, and I've seen and witnessed this, they're not only bringing religion, they bring the culture too. So I've been to some churches where you be like, oh, this is a Christian church with the Bible, and then they start flying flags. This is no lie, they start flying flags and colors, right? And be trying to do some more ritualistic stuff like you would see in Haiti and Africa. This is so true. Or when they start cutting chickens, you be like, what the hell is this? And this is a true story. So they bring their culture too. But their plan is what? They want to hijack our identity, right? And that's what they do. So they hijack our identity and our religion also. So some of them also get in through being what? A pastor or a preacher. I know that to be true too. If you look somewhere, it's written, which is nothing new because I heard this go back in the days too. For I was that through the church, through the Baptist church, that's how they would get immigrants in because of them going to school and becoming a pastor. And that's the quickest way to get access to resources, and especially through the Catholic Church or what have you, in our communities. They open up a church. There's so many African churches in the Bronx, Mount Vernon, Brooklyn now, and then you got the Jamaicans, and then they build up a network. They create a network for their own self, for their own community, or for our resources. And that's how that goes. And I land there.
All right. Thank you, Shay. Let me go ahead and get to Black Pressure. Pressure, go ahead and unmute your mic.
So knows I'm going to need security to get out the space tonight. So check this out. This is what I'm going to do. I'm not going to be the villain tonight, but this is what I'm going to do. I want you to take a picture because I never do this. You know, in the space is always avoid religion and religious texts, but this is what I'm going to do tonight. I'm going to step outside of myself, and I'm going to assume the role of the antagonist. And this is from personal experience that I'm about to do this, okay? So I'm doing this to drive home the point of how religion has literally perverted the minds of Black people this side of the world. So, like I said, myself included, my whole family, friends, associates, all that, we grew up in church. I'm from small town Texas, and we grew up in a Baptist church, right? So, and let me just this disclaimer real quick. Actually, I have to give religion some props, because the road that started my self-education, it started with questioning religion. That's all. I have to actually give religion a shout out. That's where it started. All the stuff I know now, it literally started with questioning religion. So let me say this, and like I said, this is why I'm gonna need security to get out of here tonight. In my 20 years of self-education, I have found out that people who claim Christianity, they hate the Bible. They literally hate the Bible with a passion. Let me tell you why I say that, and I alluded to it earlier. I've had these debates now for 20 years, right? And Christians and don't get me wrong, they are right. They love to quote the Bible when they say, God is love, and they talk about forgiveness, and God exercises forgiveness and compassion. And when Jesus saved the woman who got caught committing adultery, when he intervened and saved her from getting killed, and you know the woman touched the hem of his garment, and she was made whole, and he's the lily of the valley. All of that is absolutely true. Howbeit, and news, I consider you my brother, so I'm gonna put you on the spot, and you can answer after I get done if you want to. When I say Christians hate the Bible, how many times in your life, and I'm going to include myself, how many times in your life have you grew up in the church and your pastor stood up in the church and he preached that God is a killer? A lot of, and I'm talking about my own Black family, and I'm talking about Black people, period, not just my blood relatives. There are people that I have shared scriptures with, and you should have seen, these people older than me have been in the church longer than I've been in the world. You should have seen their faces when I quoted these scriptures and say, hey, you want to really learn about the God, the book you say is the inspired word of God. God in the Bible, the book that Christians say this is inspired word of God. God makes it clear. The God in that Bible said, God is a terrible God. God is a killer. God killed babies. God instructed men when he was bringing the Israelites out of Egypt. He instructed these people, when you go through these different towns and cities, kill everybody. Kill men, women, children, kill their animals. Jesus is a killer. You can read that in Revelations about how he's going to kill so much that his gown is going to be dripping with blood, and it's going to look like he's been stomping grapes all day. I'm putting it in a 21st century vernacular. But that's what it says. God says, I created good and I created evil. Anything that happens in the world that's evil, the God in the Bible said he did that. God kills babies. God is an absolute killer. And I'm asking you, News, how many times have in your adult life or in your whole life have you sat in church and your pastor preached about those characteristics of God? Yes, God is love. He absolutely is. But he's also a killer. Jesus is heal the brokenhearted. He's also a killer. And someone said, well, God doesn't send people to harm people. Huh? God, from the first page of the Bible to the last page, God sends men to kill other men. This is not even disputable. If you don't believe what I'm saying, I tell everybody, if you just want to be a lazy historian, you can Google this. It was said that God doesn't care about rituals. Really? Literally. The Most High God and his son, who Christians call Jesus, tell you over and over and over again, they command you, keep the Passover, keep the Feast of Dedication, keep the Festival of Lights. He forbade you to go to church on a Sunday. People that call themselves Christians hate that. They will come up with every excuse to say, oh, you know, that was a long time ago. And I told people it was a long time ago, throw the whole damn Bible in the garbage. Nothing that was written 2 weeks ago. But I'm really going on a point to rail against religion. Really has perverted the minds of black people, and we get this almost homosexual God. This I just hug everybody and I love it, and God loves everybody. Once again, the same Christians that'll tell you you got to study. The Bible says study to show yourself approved. That same religious text tells you God hates people. He hates them so much he'll never forgive them. But once again, if you think I'm lying, all you have to do is Google it. So you see news, you juxtapose everything that you heard in the room tonight about the God that Christians believe in, and you juxtapose with the God that's written in the Bible. It's two totally different people. And once again, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to mute up and listen, Western religion has perverted the minds of black people. And I'll mute up and listen.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, a lot of what you said, you know, I mean, listen, if you believe in the Bible and you believe in judgment day coming, then I mean, God ain't done killing. I mean, if we want to be honest here, I mean, there's going to be, if not hundreds of millions, potentially billions of people, you know, that's going to be judged, and there are going to be a lot of people that ain't going to make it if you believe in the Bible. So, I mean, hey, I mean, not to get...
Hey, News, let me say this real quick while it's fresh on, while it's on my mind. Once again, the same Bible Christians say they believe in, God makes it clear. He says, in the end, he's going to gather all the nations on earth that harm black people. He's going to gather them in one place. That's literally World War III. But he's going to gather them in one place. And he said he's going to kill every last one of them until the blood flows like a river. You will never hear a Christian pastor preach about that. You will never, not only that, God, they're not going to say,
they're not going to say that they're not going to say black people either. Now you're not going to hear Christian.
No, but we know who a lot of people. I know my black family here that is educated. We know who the original Israelites were. We know what color they were. Let me say that. And also,
but I was told to say righteous people because we got some evil ass Negro sellouts too. They ain't going to escape judgment. I tell you that.
That's cool. But look, and also this too, News. This is where Christians really hate the Bible. If you look at all our suffering, you look like me. I hold the transatlantic slave trade dear to my heart because it rewrote history. But if you look at all our suffering, you could think of the 100 years of lynching in America, the Devil's Punch Bowl, the different scientific experiments that white people exacted again. You look at all anything you could name, right? The God in that Bible says he laughed at us when we were going through that. And I quote it exactly. God said, I laugh at your calamity. And I'll mute up and listen.
All righty. I see Original's got his hand up. Original, you got it.
Hey, News, I just want to say this, what the professor was saying. Yeah, that I've seen that Vernon John movie. And it is an excellent movie. But guess who replaced that great preacher, Vernon John? Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He was the point. And those deacons got upset with, they thought they had it bad with Reverend John, but it got I think they hated Dr. King worse because they were really upset with Dr. King. I just want to share that. But I hear all of this stuff, a lot of this stuff, with religion, and I don't blame any of our forebears that gave this to us because They didn't know. They was only, giving us what was given to them, and they believed it to be true. Because I tell you, as a child, I grew up in the church and stuff, but see, when I came across that part when they said that Jesus could raise the dead, and I asked Jesus to bring my father back to me. That never happened. And I think, and that's like I remember one time asking my mother, I said, well, why are we praying to this white Jesus and these white people are trying to kill us? That just did not make any sense to me. How can I pray to an image that hates me and won't be dead, but at the same time that same image is supposed to save me and take me to my salvation? It just never made any sense to me. And so when I became of age, I began to read and and see things differently. I began to move away from that, And so I think, I guess each person will be different, as far as how they see, their religious belief or structure. But I think, and I don't see anyone as, just for their personal essence. I don't see them as being wrong. They're just going on, on their understanding. And so, and there's been several times when I, put it to practical application, and it just didn't follow through for me, But but what did follow through for me, when I began to, get up and put emphasis behind what I was wanting to do, then I began to, move forward, So I just want to say that. But yeah, Dr. King replaced Reverend Vernon John. But that is, the professor is right. That is a great movie. It is an excellent movie. I would suggest, if you can find that movie, I would suggest you watch it. And I'll end.
Hey, Original, I think it's on Tubi. They normally have it on there. That's why I always watch it.
Hey, Professor, shoot me the name of that movie again.
Yeah, it's Vernon John's.
10-4, got you.
All right. Trouble, did you have your hand up? I thought you...
Yeah, I had my hand up. I was getting my food at the time.
Oh, okay. Okay. I thought I saw Trouble with her hand up.
To piggyback off of what Black Pressure was saying, I hate to turn this into a religious conversation, but
well, it kind of was, for the fact that we talk about the pastor anyway. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, but what Black Pressure was saying is true. People like to cherry pick from the Bible, and they like to preach about the good things, and God was all love, and people forget that God was also wrath. There was a lot of wrath in the Bible, but what we've been taught is that if we don't obey this massa that walks the earth, that's when the wrath is going to come. And for me, it's all about the interpretation. I think we have people, pastors in the pulpit, that's been interpreting the Bible in the wrong way, and again, cherry picking through it. Number one, you cannot find anywhere in the Bible where it says God loves everybody. That's not true. God does not love everybody. God said he loved his people. Everybody is not God's people. He even stated in another part of the Bible, for Jacob whom I love and Esau whom I've hated. So it's all in the interpretation. And I think what a lot of pastors aren't doing is interpreting the Bible the correct way. And they keep trying to feed us these fairy tales because they want you to get slapped and they want you to turn the other cheek. That wasn't what was going on throughout the whole entirety of the Bible. There wasn't a lot of turning of the other cheek. I'm going to turn my other cheek and let you slap the other one when you just showed me that you slapped the right. I'm going to let you slap the left. No, we're not going to do that. I'm going to rain down on you. I'm going to bring wrath upon you. I'm going to wreck your whole town. I'm going to wreck this whole area. You're going to pay for that. And so we've got to move away from these bad interpretations of the Bible. And again, I'll just land with this here. Our people have got to let their spirit start being more discerning when it comes to these fakers inside of the church house. Do not allow them to lead you astray. There are certain ones that actually do give you a good word that can reach the bottom of your heart, the depths of your soul, and feed you that spiritual nutrition that your body has been craving, that you need. But then there are those ones that will frustrate you and make your problems that you have in this world, on this earth, 10 times more heightened, because they're not feeding you the truth. They're feeding you scary tactics, fear-mongering tactics. You know, and I don't want you to scare me with the love of the Lord. I don't need you to do that. I'm already scared living on this earth with you humans. You know, so I just think we need to be more discerning, and again, continue to call these pastors out. It's bad enough now, and I know a lot of people like to say, well, it's always, you know, these foreign people. These foreign peoples are very problematic when it comes to black and white relations and the way that they talk and how they want. But it's a lot of our own black Americans that are pastors that's been doing this for a long time too, because everybody is realizing that there is money to be made in the church house. You know, I could shut the doors and tell y'all, you ain't leaving about here till we got $50,000 sitting in the basket. Basket come to the top, pastor look at the basket, oh, hell no, pass that back around. Y'all can do better than this. That's not love, that's greed. And so we need to start being more discerning between what is love, what is not love, what is real, what is reality. The reality is that it doesn't matter how we show up. We could show up just as humble and as docile as we want to be. And if the supremacists decide that they are going to take our black lives because they do not value it, no amount of bowing down and obeying authority is going to stop that demon from doing what that demon wants to do. Protect yourself, black people, at all costs. At all costs. And protecting yourself means to not only protect your physical body, but protect your mind, protect your heart, protect your spirit, protect your soul. And don't let these pastors take you asunder. I'll land.
I gotta say, everybody's been on point tonight. Go ahead, Professor.
No, Todd, I was just gonna say, man, I think you was gonna mention his name last night, but we got so busy with the topic about our other brother, you know, Carmelo. I want to say, y'all, let's say rest in peace to Kyron Lacey, man. That's been on my mind, y'all, a lot.
Yeah. I was actually gonna do that space, and then I pushed it back. And not to get off topic, but yeah, that was very depressing to hear that situation about the young brother preparing for the NFL draft and committing suicide, and you know, people talking about that. I guess that he had got into he had a vehicular homicide or something, and you know, I guess he just, the pressure of that got to him or whatever. But yeah, you're right, Professor.
Yeah, news. He was actually the court he was supposed to be in. When I lived in New Orleans, it was right up the street from him. He was supposed to be in court yesterday for a vehicular homicide, but you know, of course, it's tragic. You know, it's tragic how he chose to end his life.
Very tragic.
I think it was grand jury. Yeah, it was a grand jury is what it was going. They was meeting where I guess they was going to meet to hear the evidence that they supposedly had maybe against him, which from what the attorney is saying, what his attorney is saying, they really didn't have anything. And she's very upset at the fact that they even went after him, targeting him for the investigation, because she said that they don't really know who was the cause of the accident, but it's more like they went after him because he was a standout football player. Plus, you know, as most of us know, when it comes to these young black men athletes, they know that you got a guy here that's going to be a potential NFL first-round guy. He was a top receiver on that LSU team, one of their best, along with that kid, Malik Neighbors. They was two of the best receivers, I think, came through LSU. But that's why they believe that they really targeted this kid because, one, he's a black, popular athlete, and he was potentially going to be maybe first round, second round NFL draft.
Why not just wait, though, Professor? Why not just wait and see, like the lawyer said, just wait and see about the case and everything else, and just the draft is what, 2 weeks from now, and just wait. And I think he had some people saying that he, because of the situation, even though he was projected as had this not come up, a first, second round pick, but you had some people saying he wasn't going to get drafted because he had this hanging over his head. But why not at least give yourself a fighting chance and just wait and see? But, you know, rest in peace, like you said.
Yeah,
I think he really had a good heart, and it really hurt him the fact that the elderly man passed away. And I think that
case right quick, because I haven't heard this case. What happened?
The young man that he shot himself.
Young football player from LSU. You got the draft coming up, a star receiver for LSU, and you know, on Sunday, was it Sunday? I believe Saturday or Sunday. He took his own. He took his own life, and he had this vehicular homicide hanging over his head, and you know, I don't know if he thought that he just didn't have any other options, and he was going to go to prison. His dream of being in the NFL was going to come true or whatever. I don't know, and you know. Then it was a high-speed chase as well, too. The police started chasing them and stuff like that. I guess the family called and you know.
But news, what was going to hang him with the vehicular homicide, and I put myself or my loved one in a place. He pulled some sucker shit when he ran. Like, say you hit me or you hit a member of my family, the least, the compassionate side where you would stay until emergency, till medical gets there. He just left the dude to die and ran. They had to actually catch him.
Yeah, that's gonna sink you there.
So he probably just don't want to go to jail.
Yeah.
But, I just wanted to News Total, this was a good space. I just really wanted to just say at the end of the day, like foreign pastors or foreign people getting into religion, using it as a weaponized mechanism for war is real, and that that's what it is, period. And I really don't have anything else to say. That's it.
Thank you, brother.
It's a shame.
Go ahead. You got it.
I think in our psyche, right? Some of us want to just forget that, the lynchings and the hunt for our people is over. But no, the psychology, what happens to me when I hear that young black men are being lynched still, it does something to you, So, in Shreveport, Louisiana, one of my best friend's son, was murdered in 2022, and you didn't hear about it on the train tracks. You know why? He was dating a white girl. And his father and her father and their family was furious. And the white girl's father used to follow them walking from school and follow the little boy. When the father found out his son was murdered, you know what happened to him after he buried his son? He passed away too. So and this was in 2022, so a lot of these stories are still happening, but it's being swept under the rug. And that's what I wanted to say about that.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Anybody else want to get it in? Because we ain't gonna go too much longer. DJ, I know you've been probably just sitting back chilling for a second. Like everybody was this was a pretty pretty good dialogue tonight because everybody pretty much came up and said something. But DJ might be in his sleep, man. He's been so quiet.
No, I'm up and about, just listening to y'all.
Hey, News, I got something real quick. It's don't have nothing to do with nothing.
Go ahead.
Hey, man, look. I know me and you, we both heard. I know that. Hey, FSU might win 4 games with that Gus Mouse on 95 Tom Osborne offense. They ain't gonna do nothing.
I'm hoping that ain't the case, but I'm gonna be honest. When I first heard that hire, and I was sitting watching it, I'm like, Gus Malzahn. I'm like, what? I'm like, man, I thought we in the spread offense era here. Like, I was a little bit because they had a chance to get this up and coming black offensive coordinator that was at UNLV. I think he took the San Jose State job or whatever, and I'm like this right here. I'm gonna wait and see. I know he can run the ball and stuff.
No, stop. He run 3 halfback power sweeps and punt them off. It ain't class.
Yeah, when he got a quarterback like Cam Newton, though, they can play, man. I'm just this is not how Florida State was built like this here, but I'm willing to give it a chance. Mike Norvell misses out and he doesn't do something this year. If he wins 4 games this year, he's fired, and then we gonna bring in Deion Sanders straight up. We bring in
Gus Malzahn's a huge mistake.
That offense, what you tell the receivers? They block every play. I don't see how they're gonna win with.
Florida State though, the best receivers in the country will not come to Florida State in Gus Malzahn's offense. That's why Auburn.
Say it again. Say it again.
You get no receivers. You're not gonna get any receivers to come. The receivers that we did get at Auburn under Gus, those guys were pretty much already 5-star players that already knew the game and they could get out there and make their own plays. But we didn't get very many. We couldn't get what Alabama and LSU and Georgia were getting. We was just getting like 1 or 2 under Gus Malzahn.
I don't think how you go sit in a 4 or 5-star recruit's house and say, "Hey, come play in this offense." I swear to God, I spit at somebody. If I'm a top flight receiver, I spit on you. You come tell me to play in that offense.
Oh, now look, you'll get the running backs. You'll get running backs that want to come because the running back gonna get the ball a lot, and the quarterback will get the ball a lot. The receivers is where it's gonna be a problem. You're not gonna get the best receivers. So.
I think we got Moku trying to get up here real quick. Moku, did you want to say something before we get ready to close this thing out?
Yeah. Shout out to the space. What's up, News Total, everybody in the space.
What's up now? What's up?
Just wanted to, keep the family informed. We still haven't found Sade Robinson's head. Maxwell Anderson goes on trial late May. Milwaukee, white citizens of Milwaukee collectively said they don't care about no black woman being dismembered by a white race soldier. It's been over a year. We still haven't found her head. Her mother is very active, suing the bars that intoxicated her 19-year-old baby. They have footage of her leaving incapacitated with this race soldier. And we still haven't found the head, so I'm still asking the question I'm always asking. Where with WTF Sade Robinson's head? So I just wanted to put that out there for the family. We still searching, and victims of racism, white supremacy won't rest until we got that baby's head. Emily Pike. Body parts still missing, and the list goes on. But I just wanted to keep that in the atmosphere.
All right, appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that too, Brother Moku, as well too. So definitely we appreciate you coming up in here and just dropping that for everybody as well too. I guess on that note, man, we'll go ahead and we'll get ready to close this space out. So I appreciate everybody coming through, man. This was a pretty interesting, informative space. We touched up on the pastor as well as some of the issues with religion in the Black community as well, too, guys. So I definitely appreciate everybody coming up in here. Very, very good dialogue tonight. I'm glad that Trouble and Rella came up here and did their thing as well, too, as well as Stephanie and Original and Black Pressure. Pressure, this is the most you talked in the space in a hot minute. So, so it was good to hear from you tonight as well, too. Moku, hopefully we can get you in a little bit earlier so you can drop it. Shay, good to hear from you tonight as well, too. And as always, I'm Original and, the co-host, everybody, you guys, I appreciated everything. I guess on that note, we're going to go ahead and I'll probably be back probably Monday. And I'm not sure with the Kyron space if we're going to still do that because there's so much stuff. I want to get back to hitting some of this new stuff about some of the issues that Black people facing every day and stuff. I just don't do all of it because it gets redundant and it seems to kind of wear people down as well, too. But we're going to see what's up for next week as well, guys. So appreciate everybody coming in. Y'all be safe. Y'all check DJ because DJ be having a lot of night spaces and stuff going on as well, too. So DJ be dropping, even when the new soda space ain't going on, the WPI spaces be they be hitting as well, too, guys. So definitely come up in there. And Trouble, and I heard y'all in one of the spaces, about a week or so ago. I think it was what was y'all talking about? Was y'all talking about relationships or something like that? But it was a pretty good space up in there. I heard Trouble and Black Pressure them up in there. I heard a little bit of the recording. It was a long space, but I heard a little bit of the recording and stuff like that. So it was a pretty interesting space as well, too. So definitely.
Yeah, news. I was giving them game like when they see a high value man like me, like how to get somebody like me, and it's hard to do, but I was just trying to take them by the hand and you kind of walk them down the yellow brick road to get somebody like me, and that's what I was doing. But I appreciate you listening.
I heard you talking about the instructions and stuff that the women don't want to take and stuff.
I had to get my inner dog on, you understand me. Yeah, you gotta put on these high heels and make that in these $100 bills. You understand me.
I'm still looking for them HOEs, Trouble. I need workers, yo.
Hey, Trouble say keep her name out of all of that madness right there now. But yeah,
Trouble big sis, man. That's big sis.
Oh yeah, Trouble is always good. No taxation. I see her giving the thumbs down. I see
and the shots want to get on, you want a booklet, I give it a booklet too. You understand me?
Black Pastor, I'm gonna have you on that corner making my money, honey. I'm gonna need.
As long as it's women, we could do it. I give you 80%.
Look, as long as it's green, just you make sure you get it. Men, women, hey.
Oh, hell no.
That's a negative right there.
Hey, y'all, Sister No Tax is coming up. show some love for Sister No Tax.
Yeah, let No Taxation get it in real quick.
I catch a stray. I'm down there minding my business.
I saw you get a thumbs down. No, I said, oh, No Taxation, give it a thumbs down.
Talking all that smack. He came back just like he came back just like he left out. He ain't changed nothing. Listen, I'm gonna tell y'all because I'm spreading the word around. White folks don't know what to do. White folks don't know what to do. Here's what they done found out. They looking at the underbelly of the beast. And they found out it was them. So now they done got confused. So they looking for black folks to help them. Look, they looking for black folks to help them, but they also discovered for the first time that I know in my lifetime, black folks said, nah, we ain't helping nobody but us. They ain't never seen that before, y'all. So they're a little bit confused. I got the word today. We don't understand. Well, black people ain't got no money. And we know white folks don't either. That's why y'all acting bad in the streets.
but I'm here to tell you they're using words to describe us that I know, which means that they know we're not playing. They're using words like galvanized. They're using words like unified. See, I told y'all, we are unified. Now, we might fight. We might, as a brother-sister kind of unification, that's what we are. That's why all of that stuff gets put down when something happens to a Carmelo Anthony. See? And guess what? White folks wasn't even talking about the affect of what Black America perceived as an injustice to Carmelo Anthony. They were more concerned about the political aspect. See, had they been saying Carmelo Anthony, I'd have said, yeah, well, that's what we do. Because that is what we do. No, they weren't talking about that. They were talking strictly politics here. So we got them on the run. We got to stay focused. We're going to fall out and fall back in. That's what we're going to do all the way to the finish line. That's all we got to do.
Drop it, give me 20.
You know what I'm saying? And we need to put the soldiers up front, and we need to make sure that we have their backs, because Black Pressure told you all something very important in between all that smack talk he was saying. God is also a God of war, and we are God's children. That Bible that they twisted up and moved around and took in and out, it was written for us, to us. See, y'all got to understand, it's not written for nobody else. It's written for us. It says that in there. That don't even belong to them white folks. It's us. It's ours. And we're a peculiar people. We're going to remain that way, because we're peculiar, because we'll fall out. Let something happen, we falling right back in. Come on, y'all, let's go. We look like an army to them now, and that's what we need to look like, because Black Pressure is right. We're still at war. Let's never forget it. I love y'all. Bye.
Love you too. Don't forget, in the Bible it said Kevin Sanders was right. Taxation.
Don't start lying on God. What's today? Tuesday?
Blasphemy.
You got 3 more days before you can start your lie.
Hey, man, Austin 3:16. I just whooped your ass.
You thought you did. Everything Black Pressure left. He left talking smack and he came back in talking smack. And see, that's what we need. We need that. We have to always be the light. And with that light comes laughter. We can laugh at ourselves, and we can laugh at everything else. And y'all are doing a phenomenal job about getting everything out there. Let me tell you something. White folks is on the run, and I know they are. I know they're afraid, because they've never been here before. And they thought that we would help them, but we're not going to help them. We're going to do exactly what we're doing. They said, well, we're noticing that Africans Americans are saying hands off. They don't seem to want to come out to the protest. They don't. We damn sure don't, because we tired. We told y'all we ain't got no money. Cure that ill first, and then we'll talk about the rest. And so that's what it is. So I love y'all. DJ, you need to open up a space.
Good.
Yeah, get off the bed. Do something with your life.
You know where I'm at. You know where I'm at.
Ain't nobody in the world named DJ that don't get up at 8 until 8 o'clock at night. Okay.
Oh my God.
Let me piggyback off of taxation right quick. White folks is confused right now. This Carmelo Anthony case is a peculiar case as well. I don't think they've seen us unify like this here in a minute. And it got them scared, and it got them frustrated. And every day, all day long, they are showing themselves. They crying hard on this app. They're so mad that we are supporting this young brother, because we haven't really did the GoFundMe or GoSendGo thing for our people when they're caught up in this type of a trap. And so we've came out showed out and is not backing down. And even some of the black conservatives who they thought would be on their side has even come out in support or slightly thereof. So I think we're doing a wonderful job on that front because they mad as hell. Let's keep them frustrated. And that's all.
Yes, ma'am. I think Moku started a space right now too, y'all. So I think Moku might have a space on white supremacy going on as well too. So go ahead and
hey, News, you've been reading the comments.
Which one?
So you've been reading the tweets from the white folks since the young brother got released.
Oh, please.
The white folks are steaming.
I
was laughing all day scrolling through.
Go look at that post I put up about that boy's face. Let me tell you something. When I put that boy, you know, he came out and he stood up there in his house and took that picture with that man in the suit. And I looked at that boy's face because it bothered me when he left because I knew he was green. I said, ooh, Lord have mercy. But I knew his parents had it, you know. But, you know, he was just devastated. And anything can happen to a child like in a situation like that. And when he came out and stood up there, I looked at his face again. And he just looked like an entirely different child to me. And so I said, this is the face of a child that, you know, finds out he has a lot of support or something. I was talking to y'all. I know it's the internet. I get it. But y'all know I don't venture outside the village. Y'all go look at my timeline. Y'all don't see me venturing out. The only time I venture out is to attack a poly trickster. That's it. Or somebody robbing the village doing damage or something like that. But I don't really get out of line. I don't fool with white folks like that. And the thing took off. And when I tell you them white folks is mad, listen, they mad. They are really mad about this. Mad enough to make it, it's going to look like OJ, y'all. Y'all better get ready. It's going to look like OJ, whatever the verdict is. Because, see, black folks is mad, too. See? And this judge looks like she's going by the letter of the law, which is what she should be doing. Because she reduced his bond, you know, probably grand jury probably charges and all that kind of stuff. But still, you know, she's doing exactly what she's supposed to do. He needs to get it released. He's a 17-year-old first offender. He ain't never been down into any institution nowhere other than school. That's it. So she did exactly what she should have done. She's appointed. She's a conservative, and she, you know, was appointed by a conservative. And so let's roll the dice and see what happens. We don't know how she's gonna act during the trial, but she did the right thing on that. And so for that, we got to give that to her. But y'all, white folks don't know what to do. For the first time in America, black folks will not help them. Y'all keep it up. Don't help nobody but each other here. And I'm going to leave it there.
There was a school shooting in Texas today. Do we know who that shooter was?
It was a school shooting today in Texas? Damn.
Is that the one that killed?
Yeah, it was in Dallas.
That's the one that 4 kids? Somebody killed 4 people today.
Yeah, was that?
And he was 17. Yeah, and he was in high school, they said.
And they had another one in New Orleans a couple of days ago.
Well, here's what I'm scared of, and I'm gonna tell y'all, I've been saying it. We cannot allow our children to grow up and do what these white kids are doing, which is bringing these guns in these schools and killing the rest of the kids up in the school. We cannot have that. And if we're not careful, that's where our children will be headed. Right now, it's really one-on-one violence. That 4, I don't know what happened in that situation. And was that kid being bullied? See, this bullying situation has been going on in America far too long. And the kids ain't going for it no more. They get guns, knives, and anything, damn thing else to protect themselves. And I don't blame them. And I'm going to leave it there.
Go ahead, Ray.
But it's not the bullying though, taxation. It is the gun, because I don't beat up all the bullies and got bullied. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, hey, learn how to fight. 52 block. Don't come outside unless you ready to fight. It's just really that simple. You better all stand in the house playing PlayStation all day. But even then, you're gonna come outside and have to fight one day. So Want y'all just go learn the Black American fighting style, the Negro. 52
They don't
blocks.
do all that no
Buy
more.
2 blocks. That's all
They
you gotta
don't do
learn.
all that stuff no more, DJ. Now,
Hey, what Mr. Ray
I know
Smith
they
gotta
don't do
say?
it, and you younger than me.
Okay.
You ought to know they don't do that anymore. They should.
Taxation.
And what we need is to have the men go into the communities when you hear the bullying thing. We ought to have an alert like them black men in Detroit that go around to the schools and make sure when the police come, they don't bother, and do everything right and stuff. We need some action teams, some hotspot teams around the country in these pockets of racism and get the men out there to say, look, we coming out here to witness everything. See, that'll stop them right there. You ain't even got to do nothing. Just stand out there and witness. About 5 or 6 of y'all, they'll leave it alone. They'll do the right thing because it's happening in Detroit right now. But that's what them kids not fight. They not doing that no more, DJ. These kids, listen, they not doing it. These are tech kids. They know how to do guns in that thing that makes guns at the home, the printer thing. They know all about that shit. Ain't nobody sitting out there fighting. Even I wouldn't fight no more, and I'm an old ass woman. Everybody trying to shoot. Well, except in New York, they still hacking people up, but I'm gonna leave that alone. I'm gonna leave it there.
Let me let Ray get on. Ray, go ahead. I know you had your hand up for a hot minute.
No, I'm gonna be real quick. So I just noticed that Twitter has suspended Arthur Watkins, allegedly for, trying to help Carmelo Anthony out. So I just wanted to add that. Great discussion tonight, and I always look forward to hearing more from the family.
Thank you, Ray. Appreciate that. Yeah, man. They got Arthur's page dinged or whatever, but did somebody say they were gonna probably reinstate him, I heard, or something like that?
Yeah, as far as I know, you ain't no telling. We don't control who run. Who gets to have an account, who doesn't. Because if you're raising money to help someone, defend their freedom, they'll suspend your account. But then you can sit on Twitter all day and say N-words and post about the craziest stuff, and that's just fine. On Black Pressure, by the way, don't forget about 01316 too.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, y'all know when I created.
Oh my God, Florida! Oh my God, Florida!
I created a post the other day, a couple of days ago, about Carmelo and saying that he he defended himself and stuff like that. And I messed around and put that post, and I had it in the Black American News community, and just a regular post. You had all kind of rednecks sitting up here. Going ahead and joining the community just so they can curse me out and call me all kind of names and stuff. People was joining left and right just so they can come in the community and just go off and you're a race baiting monkey, and they were just pissed off, boy. So I had to go ahead. That's why Trouble. I'm glad Trouble hit me up in the DM. She's like, "Hey, I don't mind being a moderator." That's why I made Professor, I think Original, Trouble, Rella. I made them all moderators. So if y'all over there in the community, y'all see any, because it's a bunch of, you always get these peckerheads that come in and they just want to join the community just so they can go ahead and say racist stuff. I guess they forget the name that says Black American News. So they want to come in there and just go ahead and start bombing it with their race stuff and this and that. It was to the point that you started having all of these racists up in there. I'm like, wait, we're not going to be outnumbered in our own community by these people here. So I just started booting people out left and right. It was so much work that I was like, hey, I need some help booting some of these people out. So if y'all over there in the community, you're a moderator, and you see people especially posting this racist stuff about Black people in there, get them up out of there. Professor, DJ, Original, you in here, Rella, I know you were in here. If y'all see them over there in the Black American News community and they posting all kind of racist stuff about Black people, don't hesitate to go ahead and kick them out and then block them as well too, because I had to do both of them.
Can I add something on to that? Because I was asked to join a part of a community with the account I expose racists and pedos. And if you see something really egregious, and I got this from that account, if you see something really egregious, send it to that account and then put everybody report on it. They have a system over there, and we have to guard that system as well. So I'm just going to leave that up there.
Yeah, they stay on it. I expose pedos and racists. They stay on it. They constantly putting stuff out there. So they definitely stay on it with their account and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean they have a pretty big account as well too. So I think his account got hit one time. I think he got knocked off and then he came back and I shouldn't say he because I'm not sure if it's a he or she, whoever runs it, but they came back stronger than ever, and that account is back up. So yeah, definitely check that out as well too.
And it's doing real work. It's doing really, really, really much needed work because here's what is getting ready to happen. I suspect at the end of the 100 days, a couple of weeks after, a month after, maybe Trump is going to tell Musk to be on his way. He's already hinted at it a couple of times. So he's kind of through with it, you know. And when he comes back, this is what Musk is going to face. This. Because there are several people, including, some companies, just other businesses, major businesses, that are having a problem with this racist stuff as well. They don't like it. They don't want to be a part of it. They don't want to advertise over here. And so he has a lot to answer for. So we'll see if he cleans it up or not. But let's not forget, him and the rest of the tech bros, they all from South Africa. You know, they all South Africans. And that's what we up against. We up against them. Them niggas should have defeated, the South Africans should have defeated them and got them folks in line. See, they need some young Mandelas. Mandela went to prison for throwing bombs. They need some young Mandelas over there. And them white boys done rose back up, and now they sending them over here for us to defeat. And so we tired of taking other people's stuff and have to clean up other people's stuff all the time. And South African people need to go back to South Africa where they come from. I mean, that's what I say. I'm going to leave it there.
Yes, ma'am. Go ahead, Stephanie. You got it.
I wanted to say that I see Race's, that's his second account, actually. The account that got suspended, he tried to get it back up, and Elon, you know him, he wouldn't allow their account to come back. So show him as much love as you can. Thank you.
Yeah, and if y'all haven't joined the Black American news community in anybody in this space, y'all make sure y'all go ahead and join that too. The same news I post on the News Soda page, I post over there as well too. So definitely go ahead. If you haven't already joined it, go ahead and make sure you join it. And also, if you see the content, go ahead and share some of it out, especially like the newsworthy content. I do a lot of entertainment and stuff as well too, but definitely go ahead and share some of that stuff out as much as possible and help it reach as many people as possible as well too. Go ahead, Ray.
I just wanted to say, man, I know you're trying to grow your platform, man. Just keep up the good work, man. You're really doing a good service to our people. I know it's only 30 people in here, man, but you got some riders in here, man. So I just wanted to let you know, don't get discouraged, bro. I've been here since the beginning, and when you get big, I'm going to make sure I'm still there, man, to support you all the way, man. I land right there.
All right.
Hey, News, remember all them cash apps I sent you when you blow up, too. Just remember that.
I definitely appreciate that as well, too.
Are you a subscriber, Black Pressure, but are you a subscriber? Because
Oh, my God, Pressure.
B-Mont, go ahead and unmute your mic.
Yo, what's up, News Toter?
What's up now?
I just had some quick comments about Elon Musk, and then I think it's the kid. His name is Carmelo Anthony. Is that the black kid accused of killing the other?
That's him.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say something about that too. But as far as it goes to Elon Musk, like he's a South African migrant. Like, I don't care what you've done. Like, I don't care how much money you made or stuff like this. It's not about money. You're not from this country. You didn't gain your citizenship until you were 23, 24 or something like that. And you're not an elected official. If you look at a lot of the propaganda that he was spewing on Twitter to aid in Trump winning the election, it's if we just talking about strategy, political strategy, even though that's election interference, it's it was brilliant. It was over the line, but it was definitely a point where you could have stopped that after you saw that you got the results you wanted, which was obviously helping Trump win the 2024 election. But you continue and you go on. Like, you know, obviously I have a problem with all these people losing their jobs, government officials and government workers, especially the way they're losing them. But it's like if Elon Musk wasn't around, it would be more digestible. You know, it wouldn't look as bad from an optics perspective. It would still look awful. We would still have people's, you know, livelihoods obviously being affected, which is a bad thing. And obviously, and these people's livelihood being affected too aren't just black people. I think we have to, like, you know, look at the hammer that's coming down on some white people that are being affected by that. I don't think a lot of people have been talking about how Donald Trump has been detrimentally affecting white people, how white people go back and forth with one another. The things that, you know, Trump was willing to say about, like, Joe Biden in the 2020 election and stuff like that. Like just look at how white people have been talking about themselves recently and stuff like that. I think it was no taxation without reparations, like, or whoever, because I've been listening for a while, but white people are in like a very, very peculiar spot right now. And I don't think a lot of them or enough of them actually understand that for their race. But with Elon Musk, is like, you could have just got in and got out. And that's really what you were supposed to do. And mark my words, this is going to be like the worst, richest to rag story we ever seen. Like, they keep breaking the law within this administration. Oh my God. Like, y'all thought y'all was breaking the law. Just wait till Democrats roll back around. I'm telling you, it's going to be unforgivable. Like, Elon Musk is not going to have no leg to stand on. I'm talking about big fines from the SEC. I'm talking about litigation from every angle. Like, Elon Musk is overstepping his boundaries. And he be talking, like, so much about, like, I guess it's like South African genocide or something is going on down there. I'm not too sure, like, what he be talking about. But if it was that deep, why don't you take your South African ass, migrant ass back to South Africa and go be the president? Talk about an actual, real, full circle moment for you that you can't even capture within your own life. Because you don't care about your people the way you say you do. You just interfere with other things and other stuff like that. And you overstep your boundaries. And then also with the Carmelo Anthony trial, I just saw him walking out, you know, after he got his bond yesterday or the other day. And I'm thinking, I'm like, I don't know. The spirit of me was just like, this trial is going to be like, you know, like kind of like a Trayvon Martin in a way. Just as far as like impact when the verdict comes down, how it's like going to have people talking. And I can see like Pam Bondi and the Trump administration trying to, you know, interfere with this. If that kid happens like to win this trial, just that's what my spirit was telling me when I seen that kid walking out yesterday. Like, this trial is going to be a big, big deal. That's it, though. Appreciate it.
All right. Appreciate that. Thank you. DJ, go ahead. I guess we'll let you get it in. You and Professor get it in last, and then we'll go ahead and we'll close it out.
Yeah, so back to the taxation system. I'm a man. Even if we were to go all out and get guns, what happens when the bullets run out? It turned into a knife fight now. Oh, you ain't got your Crocodile Dundee on you? Well, you about to get this Carmelo work. You see what I'm saying? So now you just force yourself to be untrained and not know how to use another weapon. But the original weapon will always be the hand. You feel what I'm saying? The next weapon will be a stick. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, or staff, we call it in fighting, you know what I mean? 52 blocks, y'all. Listen to me on this, you know what I'm saying? It's the Black American fighting style, yo. 5-2 blocks, yo. It's literally 52 hand combinations, yo. And that's just the beginning, yo. It's way more than that, you know what I'm saying? 52 blocks, study your hand techniques so that way you can defend yourself. And eventually, more or less, you get good enough, you'll never need a gun because you could just take it from the person that's aiming it at you. 52 blocks, man. Trying to tell you. It's been in certain movies lately. It's starting to be popularized as the new fighting style in Hollywood, too. So some of our black brothers is getting some roles, or some of the trainers and the teachers and the senseis, they getting some work off of that. So shout out to that. But, you know, now people know our style. This was something that was been hitting for years. This is why these white folks can never really beat us the last 50 years, 60 years. 52 blocks, man. Trying to tell you something.
You know, they had a UFC champion that used it. This cat named Rashad Evans. He used it.
Oh my God! He talk about nasty. Hey, I got another 52 block user, but he wasn't like a technician at it. But goddamn, he got busy when he got going. Kimbo Slice, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Shout out, I see my girls Val and Tata down there. Tata, I see you went back to the original profile pic. Love it. You look very, very nice on it. So shout out to my girl Tata and Val as well too. Miss Val, love that you come up here and always support. Miss Val always support you. I think Val may have spoken to space a couple of times. Val don't really say nothing, but she always show love. So much love to Val. And Tata, she shows love.
She be talking crap in the chat.
Oh, she might talk. She might in the chat, but she don't hardly come on the mic and say much or anything. But she will DM sometimes and let me know. But I love Val and I love Tata. Love my girl Trouble too. And No Taxation. Trouble rides with us though. But I gotta give Trouble her due. Trouble ride with us maybe more than anybody. Like our sister. So I gotta give Trouble. Trouble always in the space, even if she don't talk. So I gotta go ahead. I love Trouble as well too. Rella too. That's my girl. I know she ain't in here as well too. Like, you know, a lot of these sisters, they have always they supported and stuff. So I definitely gotta give my sisters. Of course, my bros up in here. I gotta give y'all dudes as well too. But the sisters, we gotta go ahead and give them their dues as well too. And No Taxation. She holds it down too for the elders as well too. So we love the motherly advice that No Taxation gives us. And my girl Stephanie. Stephanie, I ain't forget you because that gone fishing profile, it still kind of messes me up a little bit. But shout out to my girl Stephanie as well, too. Shout out to her as well. And I got to give a shout out to my girl Goddess Michelle, too, as well, too. Shout out to Goddess. Always holding it down for us as well, too. So I got to go ahead. We got to give the ladies they do. I got to give them they do. So definitely got to give them they do. Professor, I know you may you want to go ahead and say something before we close this thing out. Professor, you there? Professor, he might be in the Matrix.
Yeah, no, I'm here. So let me say this, family. Great space tonight. Let's continue to hold it down for Carmelo. As Sister No Tax said, these pale face. Y'all know I changed the name, by the way. I was calling them carcassors and all that. Well, now I call them pale faces. These pale faces are mad. Boy, I've been laughing. That's what I was just doing, by the way, reading some of these comments they've been posting. These folks will not stop about this whole Carmelo situation. They want their brothers to be locked up so bad. They just feel like, oh, man, how can y'all raise all that money? How y'all getting all that money? I mean, these folks are crazy, man. Like, these are some demonic spirit people. They need to go back to the Caucasus Mountains. We got to push them back to the Caucasus Mountain, family. We got to. These folks don't want to see us with anything. They are mad that we are winning. They can't stand to see a black man and a black woman win. They can't stand it. They can't stand to see the unity. They can't stand to see the happiness. They can't stand to see when we are fighting as one, as a collective unit. They can't stand it. And that's what makes me love it and laugh when I'm reading these comments, but also at the same time when I'm laughing at those comments, y'all, I'm pushing back on their narrative because they want everybody to believe that Carmelo was just a guy that was out to kill, right? They want everybody to believe that. But it's our job to make sure that we help out our brother Carmelo by making sure that he is recognized as an honor student, as a captain on his football team, as a scholarly young man, as a great young man. And he's not out here causing trouble. He is a young man that was trying to do right. But like most young folks, sure, they have their own little issues, but that's what young people do. They go through their own issues. We all have. And young men, young black men in particular, need to be able to have that growth in life Just like they give it to white men or white boys who go out and do things and they give them grace. Well, they don't want to give us that same type of grace. And then really the same thing for young black females. They don't want to give them grace. With us, they want to just throw our lives away and say we are nothing but criminals and welfare queens and we ain't nothing but trouble. These folks, y'all should be helping these folks right here. And this is what they've been saying about Carmelo. If you go out there and look at those comments, these folks are telling us that we shouldn't be supporting Carmelo. White folks telling us that we shouldn't be supporting him or holding him up. Same thing they was doing with George Floyd. They was mad about that. Come on, we shouldn't have been celebrating George Floyd. This is the problem with pale facers. They don't know when to just shut up and understand that this is not about them. This is not about them at all. This is about us trying to come up against a system that has been put in place to make our lives miserable. And it is our duty as Black Americans to fight against that system forever. I don't care how long it takes. It's our job to fight against it. I'm going to land right there, family, and thank you so much for coming into the space tonight. And Toda, as always, brother, thank you for bringing these topics and the news to us. The Black American family really appreciates that.
As always, I appreciate you guys as well, too. So like I say, once again, thank everybody for coming in here tonight and supporting and just participating. Just the participation is always a great thing too, guys. So we definitely appreciate that. So I guess we'll go ahead and we'll end it on that note. I believe DJ and Professor them will be having a late night space, a continuation. Plus they do all kind of different topics and stuff in there as well too. So get up with them, go up in there and participate as well too, guys. And we will see you guys. Peace, be safe, and have a good one.
Peace, peace.